Now entering Nerdist.com.
Jackie Cation, Laurie Kilmartin. Jackie Cation, Laurie Kilmartin. It's the Jackie and Laurie Show. The Jackie and Laurie Show. It's the Jackie and Laurie Show. The Jackie and Laurie Show.
Save your scorn for Waukegan for the mics to go on. Jeez, don't say that off mic.
Out the gate. Waukegan is essentially a shittier version of Racine, Wisconsin. Mm-hmm.
But they both sound like the scene of murders that were later written up in a Bruce Springsteen song.
They belong in essentially... Yes, they are essentially. They're
the album Nebraska.
It should be called Kenosha, Racine, Waukegan, and I was talking to my dad about it today, and he was like, "What's in Waukegan?" And I said, "Besides the off-track betting place you took me to one Christmas Eve when I was 19."
Oh, at least you're 19.
I came home from college, and that's
still a terrible story.
It's a hilarious. I said it's one of the great memories of my college days, Dad. And he goes, "Well, at least I'll leave you with those." He's talking about his death a lot, but always with a joke, always with a because he never my father. No one will be more surprised when my father dies than my father. But here's what happened. When I was 19, I come home from college. It's Christmas Eve. Nancy is working. My stepmother, of course, worker bee, working Christmas Eve. And
supporting your father's gambling
all
habit.
of our craziness.
Right.
And so my dad comes home in the middle of the afternoon, and I was like, "Hey, do you want to go get coffee or something?" And he was like, "I'm going to the track. Do you want to come?" And I said, "Is that going to be our father-daughter moment?" And he goes, "I'm going to the track. You are welcome to come." And I was like, "Okay." And then we go, and I think we're going to a horse track. We are not. We are going to a Waukegan off-track betting hole. Essentially, it's
a lot of single guys at those places.
50-year-old single. It's like the saddest 50-year-olds on Christmas Eve in 1983.
Hook me up.
84. Yes, if we go back in time and find you the 1984 Wisconsin. Wait, none of them are up to your standards, I don't think.
You know what? I don't. It's shut down. It is shut down until my son is like 18. I just can't. I don't want to fuck him up accidentally.
I've been looking all day for this book I want to give him, by the way.
Oh, really?
So, yeah.
We're reading Wrinkle in Time.
All right. Go,
I'm trying to get through it before I'm sure we'll finish it before the movie leaves the theater.
Yeah,
it'll be out for a while.
Yeah.
I just don't want to. I don't want to be yelled at for doing a spot, basically.
By some
How about
man.
that?
Yeah, how about that?
You found the last guy who doesn't give a shit if you do a spot.
No, he's like, no, I'm going to go stare deeply into this game design document.
He has abysses all over the house he can look into while you're on the road.
This is not to belittle the beautiful relationship that I'm in, but last week he had to go to a game conference and I had to go on the road, and he left before me, so I cleaned the house, and I got home before him, so it came home and it looked exactly like I left it, and it reminded me of when I lived alone.
Oh.
It was so great. It was so lovely.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's my fantasy of living alone.
Remember when you lived alone?
For a day.
One whole day. I remember that
entire
story.
life. One day I lived alone.
Goddamn day.
One fucking day.
That is unfortunate.
Yeah. So, I was going crazy yesterday. I just had a day where I didn't have any wiggle room. Like, daylight savings time decimates my entire family. Where my kid's like, he's can I go to school late? So I got to have that conversation. I can barely, for some reason. Oh, I was up because I was up late because I was doing a set that night, Sunday night. So I was still wired. I didn't get much sleep, and then work all day, and then go right to a show. And I didn't have any time in between where I wasn't needed or pecked like Tippi Hedren running for her life in The Birds. I'm constantly just being chased by things that are pecking at me.
Right, just one more task.
Yes.
One more task. So, I'm so sorry.
Anyway,
did you get a lot done though? Did everybody get all their ducks in a
everyone
row?
else's needs were taken care of.
Did everyone live through the day?
Yes.
And then you were driven slightly closer to madness?
But today this is Tuesday, and I thought we were going to be staying late at work again tonight because we have we're taping a show tomorrow. But tomorrow's first act is Conan did a remote with The Rock.
Yeah.
And so they got it all edited. So that's going to be like the whole first act. So we don't need hardly any comedy for tomorrow.
Oh, wow.
So we got to leave at, 5 o'clock.
Nice.
And I went right to Bikram yoga, got all fucking stretched out.
Nice
and
work.
sweaty. And now I'm like,
You seem loose.
yeah, I feel good.
That's awesome.
I'm ready to, I'm going to fucking sleep so hard after this podcast. I can't wait.
Congrats. How did Mary Mac do? Mary Mac?
She did great.
She did great?
Yeah, she did really. I went and looked for her twice to say hello, but she both times, and this is how she's a pro. They were like, yeah, she's watching the show from the rafters or something. She was just like behind watching the crowd from different points of view while the show was taping, just to check them out. And usually
She is not wrong.
No, she's not fucking around, and that was smart.
That was super smart. Next time I do it, well, you guys, next time I do Conan, as I say so surely, it's, but I saw her today because, I usually do Tuesday comedy brunch.
Yes.
And canceled it because I thought I was shooting today. I thought I was shooting a thing, but it turns out it was just an audition.
Oh.
Yeah. Turns out they didn't just book me out of hand. I have to audition for this thing.
This is outrageous. What is wrong
it's an
with
outrage.
this business?
What happened
just
to
book you at this point?
What happened to the cronyism that I was
know
hoping
what
to
you
grow
are.
into? Yes.
Yeah, you bring what you bring.
There's no illusions.
Fucking book this lady.
Right. So, but it was, and it was a lovely audition. It was Brian Regan has been given a 4-hour deal with Netflix,
Oh, wow.
but it's going to be stand up and sketches. He was so funny. He said, I kind of see it kind of like Carol Burnett. And then he looked at me and there was a silence. He goes, we might not be the youngest people in the world. And I was like,
So he's doing 4 hours that are, it's
4
not
1-hour
pure
things,
stand-up.
not pure stand-up.
Just
It's gonna
4-hour
be-
comedy shows he can fill however he wants to.
However he wants to.
That's cool.
Pretty sweet, right? And so I went in to audition as a sort of an interstitially kind of floor manager kind of person, where the role would be that of sort of friend who he had gotten a job because I'm in charge of getting him from the stage to the next sketch.
Yeah.
And so I bust his chops a little bit, but because we're friends.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm also at work, so I'm like, Brian is walking, or whatever. That's the role, right?
Right.
And it was just him and Jeff Cesario and his brother Dennis, and
neat.
then the casting lady and the director.
Oh, cool.
Were in the room, and it was just riffing essentially for 20 minutes, and it was super fun.
Wow.
So if I get it, I get it. If I don't get it, it was nice seeing those guys for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
But I thought it was going to shoot, so I canceled brunch, and then 2 people texted me, and Kate Willett and I think Carolyn, whatever, you guys, whatever. Kate's one of the comics of the week.
Yeah.
So they texted me and said, hey, is it happening? And I'm like, well, it can now. And so then I just met them, and it was lovely. It was a really good time.
Well, that is one of the best brunch stories I've ever heard of.
It's a good one. I'm going to tell it again in 42 minutes.
I know.
But I did get to see Mary Mac and Tim Harmston.
Yeah.
Both great comics, because they came to the lunch.
Oh, that's cool.
It was
she had
them.
a really good set. I hope she was happy.
Kate. Yeah, she was pretty happy.
Yeah.
Tim was happy. She was super nervous about it. And
Her first one was really good.
Yeah, they've all been great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then you got to live up to your first one.
Well,
you never feel good. You never feel rested. I mean, you never feel like you did it, like you're finished. You know, now you have to prove you still got it.
Maria did Leno a long time ago.
Yeah.
And got a standing ovation. And the next time she did it, she didn't get a standing ovation. And she just beat herself up for it. It's like, stop talking. It went very, very well.
You know, plus the standing O, that's just the crowd that day. I mean, sometimes the crowds suck. It's just like
says the woman who got a standing O.
No, but I mean, they stood when I walked out and they didn't know who I was. They were just a really great crowd. No, I'm not kidding. I'm just saying it was fun. It was like, yay, this is cool. But you know, they had already seen the director of Wonder Woman, so it was like a fun show.
Right.
They were happy people.
Right. They were happy people.
But that's, you know, that. You know, you can't control that. That's
it's hard to control.
That's luck. If you have a good crowd and you have good acts on before you, that make the crowd happy.
Yeah. Yep. So I've been doing the road so much lately that I did a set last night, Improv Lab, and tonight at Flaps, over at Flappers. And my stand-up is both super laid back, because I have lots of stage time, but also genuinely aggro. because I've been opening
You're
a lot
furious
for Maria.
lately. You're furious.
I have just last night I was just there was a woman in the front row who I was working on my White Lady Meat Shield bit a little bit because I've got a new angle on it, which is great. I'm psyched actually.
Yeah.
And she was a very young black woman, and I mentioned being a middle-aged white lady, and she went, "Ha." And that took me completely out of my head. And it's my turn to learn some shit every day of my life. I'm exhausted from learning. And
Well, what did that teach you? What did that laugh
that taught me
teach
that?
you?
Well, it was she'd laugh, but she was laughing at me instead of laughing. She wasn't laughing at
You
something
weren't
I
in
said.
control of that laugh.
I wasn't in control of that laugh. That's
Outrageous.
exactly what the
Yeah.
problem was. It was entirely outrageous. Thank you. You have just nailed it. And Andy was like, "Well, how could you tell that she was laughing at you?" And I said, "I don't know, 30 million years of doing stand-up." And so guess who didn't need to hear that? Andy Ashcraft.
Well, luckily he has an abyss to gaze into. Yeah, I was at. I did a show at Cranes that was really cool. It was
Last
like their
night? What is
Monday
that?
night. Yeah,
What is that?
It's a room and it's a bar in downtown LA. It's right near an escape room. I don't know if you've ever done that.
Yeah. Have you done that?
No, but I pitched it, and Conan did it with Jordan Slansky. There's a lot going on. in his
Andy's
last
done a
name.
lot.
What?
He's done a lot of escape rooms.
They
There's a
seem
Dork Forest
incredibly
in-
frustrating, and I wouldn't enjoy it for a second.
You wouldn't enjoy it, though.
No.
You would want to control that space. And here's what
You know
I did.
what? My life is an escape room. I'm trying to get out of my life, okay?
You're
I don't
like,
want to put
there-
myself in a room.
Tick tock, tick tock. There's another. Just trying to get alone, you guys. Anyway, so it's near an escape room that Conan did. Is that what I'm
Oh,
hearing?
yeah. So it's downstairs, and it's in an old bank vault, so none of the cell service works, which is heaven for
stand-up.
comedy.
Yeah.
And it was really nice. And it was like their 2-year anniversary show, and they gave me a as part of their gift that they gave all the comics on the show was a hardback joke book, to write
A new
in.
notebook?
Yeah, it wasn't a moleskin like this. It was a little tinier, but it's hardback. I'm excited to
It's got a nice
break
feel
it
to
in.
it. Yeah.
and then I did a couple of shows, Tammy shows at the Comedy Store
Last night on Monday as well.
Saturday. And those were pretty cool. They were sold out. She's selling out the Belly Room like 2 shows every Saturday night.
I
It's
can't say
crazy.
I'm surprised.
Yeah.
Tammy Jo Deeren, she fills rooms. She can.
She's amazing. And they're good crowds. And then before that, on Saturday, I did something at the Bicycle Cafe in Frogtown.
I've heard of that one.
That was cool, and they were going to cancel it because it's an outdoor space and it was raining.
Yeah.
And Christian Duguay books it, and he kind of pulled all the comics, and we were all like, "No, we'll do it.
We'll do it
If it's
How
raining,
bad?
we don't care."
It's, if they're willing to sit there and listen to it, I will try to tell these people.
And so we
these
get
jokes.
there, and they they have like coverage, but it's still sort of rainy, and everyone's dressed in their outdoor outfits.
yeah.
And so it was a fun show. It was
That is
cool.
fun.
Those are my. I took a couple days off to hang out with my son. He had his talent show.
I
on
saw that.
Friday
You
and
sent me the
Saturday.
video.
Sent you a clip.
Yep.
God, man,
He did great.
He did pretty
great.
good, huh?
Yeah. It's somebody sent me a clip of overhead of somebody playing the piano, and I thought I tried to send it to you, but
Oh yeah. Oh, I
didn't work.
I took a couple of videos like that when he was practicing. He didn't
right,
know I was
like from
looking
the
at him.
hands down kind of situation. Yeah.
But yeah, it was a 90-second song. It's called Megalovania, and it's somehow connected to some YouTube video he's obsessed with.
Oh.
And so we got the music for it. And,
Okay.
He's been playing that for a year straight, and I never have to hear it again.
Right, he's done now, and the piano was quite a student piano. Like it was not a performance.
Yeah,
level
I mean, it
piano,
was a
which
school
weird.
piano for
It's a
sure.
school piano
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah, I was like, it's a little tinny, you guys. But because I bet you it's a really cool song on like a baby grand or something.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I have a baby grand.
Right, of course you do. It's sitting on top of
sounds
your
great
roof.
on mine, yeah.
Yes, it's
So yeah, that was my weekend since I've seen you, I think.
right. My weekend, I flew to Grand Rapids, and then we did that show. I was with Maria all weekend, so it's super fun.
Yeah.
We had a really good time. There was trouble with the flights. Like they changed my flight, but not her flight, from Salt Lake, from Grand Rapids to Salt Lake City.
And you guys are driving together from place to place once you land and stuff?
Ideally, but I just took a lift to the hotel, and then, but it was a theater in Grand Rapids. We did 2 shows.
Is Grand Rapids near
Michigan?
Detroit?
It's probably.
Did you fly into Grand Rapids?
We flew into Detroit. You're right. We flew into Detroit.
Okay.
And it was probably. Wait, no, we flew into Grand Rapids and we flew from Detroit.
Oh, okay.
So, yes, it was all fiddle and diddle.
Okay.
And it's probably 2 hours, I guess, the drive.
Ew.
And so we flew into Grand Rapids, which was an hour and a half flight. Anyway, because with boarding and all that. Mm-hmm. But who cares? And
I actually do care about this stuff.
I know, but I was wondering if anyone out there did.
We'll never know. They're free to turn this off and put us out of our misery.
I turned off Man on the Moon because he said that, that movie. Remember that shit movie about Andy Kaufman?
Yeah, there's
That got
a
nominated for
documentary
1,000
about
Oscars?
that movie on Netflix.
That's something else I can avoid.
I started it. It's one of those
Yeah.
things I started.
Yeah.
I intend to finish it one day.
Oh, good.
I'm just watching This Is Us like a normal person. I'm just filling my head.
With
I'm
television?
not pushing anything out of my head. I'm filling it with things.
Refill the well, Laurie Kilmartin. Refill the well.
That's what I will call my
You're
empty notebook.
You're empty. Yeah.
The well is full of blank pages.
The shows were good, and then we went to Salt Lake and did Wise Guys 2 shows on Sunday,
Yeah.
7:30 and 9:30.
Yeah.
Sold out, both of them.
Wow.
All 4 of them were sold out, quite honestly.
Wow. Did you bring merch?
I brought merch to Salt Lake because it's a club.
Yeah.
And I sold almost all of it. Wow. A lot of merch, and it was all Meat Shield stuff, so it'll benefit. I've paid off. I think I've paid off the nut of what it cost to buy 200 shirts.
Yeah.
And 200 pins. Now I'm going to do a sort of a prudent reserve so I can reorder. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to get half of that money, and then after that, the first 1,000 goes to Black Lives Matter, and the second
that's
1,000 goes
awesome.
to ACLU. Yeah, and the third 1,000 will go to Southern Law. What as much money as I make.
You
right?
pointed at me. I was so excited.
It's because I know that you do a monthly.
I just do monthlies. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just added one too. Sean. God, I forgot his last name. It's not Sean King. He's an activist, and
Yeah.
is it Sean King?
I think so. Yeah.
Because you know what? That's also Larry King's wife's name.
Oh, weird.
Yeah.
Is she still alive?
She is, but she does not have a PAC.
Okay.
But he has one where they're trying to get DAs elected that aren't going to
just incarcerate.
automatically throw black men into jail. And
There's an idea,
yeah.
so that they could continue enslaving black men. That'd be great.
Yes,
that'd be fantastic.
So anyway, that's a good PAC to donate to too.
So here's what happened over the weekend that was kind of exciting. Is there is a guy who books country clubs and he books one-nighters.
Yeah.
And I haven't worked for him for 3 or 4 years because he is a sexist guy. He
Can you write his name down? Do I know?
Yeah,
him?
you know him. And but he does. Do you know that guy?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so I haven't worked for him in several years just because he's super sexist and he separates people by, and he has said this, I separate people by race and gender. That's true, but then I'm a provocateur. He used the fucking word provocateur, which made me want to
A booker?
Yeah.
Ugh,
and he's a comic too.
Yeah.
And then the thing that happened, but here's what I didn't realize. He separates people by race and gender. I stopped working for him because he separates people by gender. Mm-hmm. I have other friends who stopped working for him because he separates people by race.
Separates by race? Like,
Well,
he puts all the female comics on one show and all the black comics on another show. And all
No, the way he books, these are statements that he has said to me and to other women comics that I know who book this. So this is a really conservative venue. So, as women comics tend to talk more about their vaginas and get kind of dirty.
Oh my
So I would really
God.
prefer it if you did not. And you're like, fine. And for 6 years when I worked for him,
bullshit.
it is lies and not okay.
If you just take transcripts and measure joke for joke, no, we don't.
Nope.
It feels like it because you're not used to hearing it, or you don't want to, or your baby ears curl. But it doesn't mean we're
Dudes
doing
talk
it more.
about vaginas all the time.
Oh my God, and dicks.
And dicks.
Yes.
All they do. Talk
Oh,
about
God.
tab A, fucking slot A.
Yes.
So, and then what he says, and I've heard him I've heard other people of color tell me this about what he says, and I know that he is because when he talks about women, I'm not the most. Every day I learn how unenlightened I am because I remember him saying this stuff, and I was just told by a friend of mine who hasn't worked for him in a long time that she doesn't work for him because he's also a racist. And I was like, oh, if I would have thought about that. Yep,
that makes
he's a
sense.
racist.
Yeah,
because he's like, black comics are always talking about what it's like to be black, and you talk too much about that. They don't want to hear it because the audiences are mostly white, and just you have to make sure. And there's not a lot of and they swear a lot. So if you could not swear as much, and you're like, that isn't true either. You dumb booker fuck, and hashtag not all bookers. So, but I have this. So anyway,
this is
here's the drama.
Okay.
The drama is that and I got booked by Judy Carter like this about 3 or 4 years ago. She has my picture on her website. You want to book Jackie
Did she
Cation?
teach you? Oh, as your booking agent?
Yeah, it's this thing that bookers will remember how bookers will they're like, who do you need?
Oh yeah. Look at my corporate, my stable,
my list of my stable,
my list
that's
of emails I have.
Yes, and so
people I don't book in my room ever and don't return their emails
that I don't actually know almost. Like I've never even met Judy Carter.
Right.
I got an email out of the blue saying, "Do you want to do this terrible gig in Montana?" That would ended up.
Is that how they pitched it?
No, that's how I lived it.
Okay.
It because it was. Alicia Cooper, somebody else, and me. And Alicia Cooper was doing 30. Lisa Alvarado was doing 45. Then there was a break, and then I was doing 60. Do you know what
That's
that is?
a lot. That's
too much
show.
That's too much show. To 300
And a break. Oh God.
and a break,
and where in Montana?
the middle of nowhere, like out of we had to drive.
Like Bozeman or Helen?
No,
or
I don't.
just-
I don't
okay.
know. And it was 5 years ago, and it was essentially it was the first time I tried to use never use no without a number, where I asked for I was like, I'm going to ask for a crazy amount of money. So it was like 6 years ago, and I go, I'm going to need $3,000, and she goes, done. And then I had to go to fucking Montana in February. I'm sure she made millions of dollars, not millions. Who knows what she made? Who cares either? Because I'm in her stable because I'm on her website, but I shouldn't be. But I never thought about it. Everyone I've talked to that isn't a comic, because comics have this thing, where we were raised to believe that whoever got us the gig gets a percentage,
Right.
Whether they're our booker for reals or not. And so, my friend was like, I want to take this gig.
So we're back to the person you're
We're
talking
back to the
about.
person I'm talking about, but I don't want to work with this booker. And so, whatever. And
I read the Facebook post.
Yeah.
Okay, so she had blocked this guy's email, so he contacted her.
via cell phone.
Right, and she didn't respond because she didn't get it. And so then the gig contacted her separately because they apparently told him, hey, we want this person.
Yeah.
And he couldn't get a hold of her. So they went around him and contacted her.
Right.
So I think her question was, do I take the gig and still pay him a commission? And my answer was no.
Right. And other people were like, he's got your face and name on his website and you don't work for him. He's not really your rep.
Yeah.
And other people in different businesses are like, that's actually misrepresentation.
Really? Oh, there are. This
And
business
comics
is so
look at
corrupt,
each other.
We have no idea.
We have no idea. I've
Really?
never had another comic like Andy Ashcraft stared at me in disbelief. Moon Zappa stared at me in disbelief this morning, and when I told her the story, and
Yeah.
it was this thing that was completely insane, and so
Excuse me.
I'm gonna. But what happened is here's what. So he called her on a burner phone. She didn't recognize the number. And so she took the call and she
Oh,
said,
no.
I'm kind of glad we had a perfectly reasonable talk where
Yeah.
he told me that that he knew that he separated people by race and gender, but he was a provocateur.
Oh, okay.
And she said, be whatever you want to be, but I can't work with you. And he said, okay. And then he sent, sent me this screenshot.
This is a tough story to follow, I think.
Okay. Don't read it out loud, please.
Okay. No, I won't.
Okay. But the thing is he said, thank you for maintaining your professionalism. Mm-hmm. That's the only part I wanted you to see, which is, thank you for maintaining your professionalism is dude speak for thank you for not pointing out what a piece of shit I was while I was being a piece of shit. Mm-hmm. And
I think he's trying to get money from her, too.
I don't think so.
Well, she shouldn't have to. But.
Well, it doesn't even matter anymore.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's not even an issue. But the thing is he doesn't want to burn the bridge. He's one of the weird thing about comedy is that the bookers want us to like them, but they treat us so poorly, and we want to work, so we take how poorly they treat us.
Yeah.
And so it's this weird thing. So he's like, thank you for your professionalism. And you're like, that's dude speak for, thanks for not pointing out what a piece of shit I am while I'm being a piece of shit. And then afterwards, because I was like, that's exactly how white people talk to people of color after I've not been pointed out how I've been a piece, like, because what happens is it gets on the news of the brown or black person overreacting. Mm-hmm. It's never middle-aged white lady
right.
having to sit there and listen. Nobody gets their side, right? They like when a black person finally snaps and go, seriously, you're not treating me like a person.
Right.
And you're like, you're not being professional. We're at work. And you're like, no, you're not treating me like a person. And it goes like
Jackie,
that.
You're awash in lots of emotions. And
I have
you're,
so many
you're combining
emotions.
all these stories together.
I know. It's my learning is exhausting, and I keep having to learn something every damn day because we're in the middle of a civil war, and it turns out that's a learning experience, and I'm not happy about it.
Can I say, I don't... okay, my son had this New Mexico project. Mm-hmm. And
was it about the bomb? What was it? What's the New Mexico?
New Mexico, stats,
What about the state of New Mexico?
Yeah. But what's weird is like when I write, everything I write is about the present moment. And so when I look at history, if I'm trying to provide context for something, I will look at history to write about it, to provide context for the present moment, whether it's a joke or, a book or whatever. But it's so strange to see my son writing, basically just rewriting facts that are known
right
on Wikipedia or whatever, just kind of just putting the puzzle pieces in different places and turning it in. And I understand why it feels boring because these facts already exist, and so I'm just telling you them, and you could already have looked them up someplace. Versus when you need these facts because you're writing a joke about the present moment and you want to give it some context.
Yeah.
And it's I don't know.
There'd be a better way to teach it, is what you're saying?
I think. Mm-hmm. I do.
I don't think you're wrong. Part of the ways that they teach children is supposedly like the bells that ring. This next period, bell, ring, next period. It was, I read a book one time many years ago about how the education system in America was invented, the mass public system was invented in like the 20s and 30s to create factory workers. To make sure people showed up on time.
Oh, right.
They knew, and everything was done by rote. Like you had to memorize and copy things. And that Simpsons thing, I will not be a jackass on the board. That was one of those things where you had to, that was a punishment, was to write the same thing 100 times. And that was all sort of, and a lot of that stuff is left over.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, you get used to being bored or something or doing something is a waste of time, but you still have to do it because you have to do it. But, I don't know. He's obsessed with this YouTuber named 8-Bit Ryan.
8-Bit Ryan?
8-Bit Ryan.
8-Bit.
We're here to do a report on 8-Bit Ryan instead of New Mexico. Now, I know it's not the same thing, but or maybe where 8-Bit Ryan is from. I think he's English. So say,
has he ever been to New Mexico?
No, but I'm saying okay, so maybe you get aside Birmingham, and 8-Bit Ryan is from Birmingham, and there's a way to talk about Birmingham by looking at this guy's YouTube career or something. Like that's a way that I think would really interest a kid.
Right. Did he come from a factory family from Birmingham?
Or did he not? And how did and
what
some
did,
of,
what
you
what
know,
do his parents do, and how did that affect the
Right.
work that he does now? Is what
whatever.
it'd
Yeah,
be
I mean
more
that's just
interesting.
not the way it is. But
Right.
I have a child who goes, "This is boring," and I agree. And I don't,
Right.
And I
But you know what else is boring? Cleaning your house. I mean, sometimes we have to do boring things.
I know.
You get it.
I know.
He doesn't. He's 11, so he has to be told to do boring things sometimes.
I know.
No,
I'm having
I'm
this
not.
conversation with my mom 5 times
Oh,
a day,
sorry.
so I want to stab you.
Oh,
But
no.
but I just think
I'm sorry that I'm stating the
Oh no, that's okay. But and here's the thing too. I'm like, he's 11 and a half. I remember hearing this one, This American Life, where they said the most important age of a kid's life is year 12, where whatever happens to you when you're 12 has a profound effect on you. And if it happened to you when you're 14 or 10, it wouldn't matter as much.
Did you think that's true of yourself?
Yes.
What happened when
definitely.
you were 12?
Oh, my
A bad thing?
dad left to go work in Nicaragua and kind of left me alone with my mom, who was depressed. I mean, it was just like our family just went, what? It just fell apart, right?
Okay.
And so my point is like, my son's coming up on that year.
Yeah.
And I
the
want it to
pressure.
be,
You want it to be
awesome.
Yeah.
First of all, I don't want to die. Like, please, I don't want to die for a while anyway, but not when my son is 12. Like, let him have me for at
like
least
this.
another year and a half. Because that's too much trauma.
This NPR thing really blew your mind, is what I'm hearing.
Yes.
Okay.
And maybe, I have a shot at raising the first happy Kilmartin or the first chill
Oh, there you go.
Kilmartin.
Yeah.
If nothing shitty, shitty things just don't happen for the next 16 months,
Kyle, what was year 12 like for you? Was it
rough.
It was a rough year? Do you remember it distinctly?
I remember pieces of it.
Okay.
It was where I learned I'm a sad person.
You learned that you have some sadness? All right.
This
I got nothing, by
this
the way.
American
Year
Life
12?
well, maybe it didn't happen, but maybe it didn't affect
Because-
you that way.
right,
And
so
so
ma-
that
so maybe
that
it's
also
not
affects
every-
you in a certain the fact that nothing. I'm just saying, like, if the first time you're molested is when you're 12, that's going to hit you harder than if it had happened when you're 14.
When I was 6?
I don't know. That's what. Listen,
Yeah. I know.
take it to Ira Glass, motherfucker. Okay,
I
That's
will
what he
take it to
told me.
fucking Ira Glass, man.
Maybe
Don't even bring
molested
up-
wasn't a good.
Yeah, it's a bad.
It's never a good example. Actually.
It's always hard. that
But
one.
I just want it to be awesome, and I want him to like.
I
just
get
be
this
set
book. You'll
off
like
on
this
the
book. I get.
right path in life. All right, what?
And if I can find this book, you'll like it. It's How to Draw the Marvel Way.
Oh,
You know that book?
Oh, he will.
It's
like it.
I gave it to my nephew who when he turned 11
Oh,
and or 12 and I can't remember. And I remember and he's an artist. His name's Salmon Patrick Wolfgang Beamel Benrud. And his name is ridiculous and it's fantastic if you're an artist. But he's a programmer now and he's
Oh, cool.
He's hanging out with haircuts in San Francisco now. They moved him there.
Oh, yeah.
And so
Sounds nice.
it is nice, but he's still a good guy. So, but he was so funny because when I gave it to him, he said, "This book is too hard for me," and I was like, "Yeah, it's called a learning curve. But you'll if you practice what you can do, you'll get better at it from this book." And it really it gave him he loves art. That's he's an artist, and your son loves art so much. I think he would really
Yeah.
like that book.
yeah.
So, well, it'll happen. We'll make it happen. I love
Yeah.
giving books to kids, quite honestly.
Like, how much
Genuinely.
should I like stay home next year? I mean, I won't.
Oh
be
my
able
God,
to.
I really want.
I won't be able
I want
to.
you to phone it in, is what I want you to do. I want you to leave him alone for the year. Maybe that'll help him. Have you thought about that?
Stop hovering.
Yeah, maybe you send him off to boarding school and he has the greatest year of his life. And maybe he doesn't have to live by his toxic grandmother for a year. Maybe he's got. I'm going to Vermont when this goes.
Oh, cool. Are you-
Burlington.
Oh man.
That's it.
Tell everyone I said hello.
I will. And I'm doing a live dork for it.
What?
She was just there.
I was there last year.
Yeah, you just did it.
Yeah, I'm not doing the old Jackie. Hey,
Hey, call me. Hey, book me.
Like how you go after Molly at the punchline or something.
Wow. I don't think I've ever gone after Molly at the
Yes, you
punchline.
have.
Have I? What
Yes.
did I say?
You book me. As if she's listening and going, oh, I got it. That's right.
Keith Stubbs is, he might be listening because he said that he would book me because Marie and I did Wise Guys. And I was like, what about me, man? Is that what you're talking about? Is that what you're talking about?
No,
is the fact
when
that I
you're
do a
there
lot of
in
what about
front-
me?
Yeah, when you're in front of the booker's face, yeah, of course you say
That
what
might be
about
the
me.
name of my that might be the name of my biography. Is
what about
me?
Oh my god,
What about me?
That's that is the name of your life.
It should be because you know what? I'm the one living it. I don't know if you know this about me, but I'm the one over here inside this.
So you're in
Fucked
Burlington.
up skin.
Are you flying? How are you flying there?
I don't know.
You know I'm
Through-
obsessed with your flight paths
Oh, I am taking Delta
to Burlington.
to Burlington.
You know that hardly any flights go to Burlington. Remember, I flew in the morning. I took a red eye to JFK.
Oh,
and
I know
then
what
I
I
had to
did.
drive 6 hours because they canceled the flight.
Oh, right.
You don't care.
What I did do, yes, no, I do remember
Hey, I
that.
got my
now.
car keys back.
You did get your car keys
Finally,
back?
thank
Closure
you,
for all
Advantage.
listeners.
I sent them
Advantage.
cookies.
Did you
Yes.
send them cookies?
Yeah, they
Excellent.
came today. I sent them Elenis, Elenis cookies. Those are
Yeah.
they're really great in New York. Oh, I'm so happy. It took 3 weeks, and I've been tracking because they for 2 weeks I was calling customer service every
Yeah.
day, and they never put me through to the actual. The desk, like
Yeah.
it's somebody in Bangalore or whatever, and so they finally say, they got a tracking number, and so they
That's
put
right,
the
you had
keys
the-
in a track, and then they just left the envelope there at Advantage for like
Right, the
another
tracking-
week.
The tracking number never moved.
No, it didn't move. It's
No
like,
movement.
It's like it's packaged.
Right.
And I was tracking it on FedEx. I'm like, Jesus Christ, put it in the fucking mail.
Yes.
And they finally did.
And so you got them before you're going to New York.
Yeah.
Because you're going to New York the
I
week
know.
this
I'm
goes,
like, how am I
right?
going to get in?
Right.
And I
Yeah.
have to get a keychain with I need some big obnoxious,
Like a spoon?
taxidermied rabbit
Like
on my
a
keychain.
restroom?
Yeah, basically like a
restroom
gas
keychain.
station. Yeah. So I don't lose it.
Here's what's happening flight-wise. I'm
Okay.
flying in the night before. I'm flying in on the Wednesday.
Oh, so you're doing Thursday, Friday, Saturday?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm flying in Wednesday night. I'm getting there late.
Oh, cool.
And I told them I would cover the hotel if they couldn't get a deal.
Yeah.
And I don't remember, but I'm also doing a live Dork Forest midday on Saturday before the show.
Cool. With
And
who?
Joy L. Johnson is going to feature for me, and she's not doing the podcast, though I'm hoping to knock out a Dork Forest with her in my room over the weekend, and
Mm-hmm.
then a local dork luminary. I like to when I do a live one in a faraway town.
Mm-hmm.
I like to get a local. I like to someone who works in the mayor's office, or some I don't know.
Sure.
Bernie Sanders is not available. His wife is busy laundering money. I'm uncertain what she's doing. Too soon? Too soon? Possibly too soon. Anyway,
So, well, that's good. I will be this weekend.
moving on. Yes, where are you going to be?
I will be in Portland, Oregon.
Will you?
Working at Curious.
You doing the Curious?
I'm doing the Curious
Again?
on Saturday, the 24th at 7:30 p.m.
I thought you were going to be in New York this week.
Oh, no. Yeah, but when this drops.
Oh, are you going to New York? Like today's Tuesday.
Yes, I'm
You're
going to New York on Friday night.
On Friday night,
And I'm
okay.
coming back on Sunday. This thing drops on Monday.
Right, the week that this comes out, you're going to be going to Portland,
Yeah,
Oregon.
I'm kind of doing a new thing where I don't tell people about gigs they missed. Okay, so this weekend, if you're in Portland,
and I'm the one who's aggro. Go. What happened to the Bikram yoga blur? The lure of that. Anyway,
I feel so good.
anyway, so you're curious.
Okay, so a 7:30 show, and during the day I'm doing like a public radio public
Oh, with the
radio
book.
show. Yeah, it's kind of like a book promo, and it's not on all NPR stations, but it's select
Yeah.
NPR stations.
Yeah.
And then on Sunday night, I'm doing I'm doing a reading at
Powell's.
Powell's at 5 p.m. If you're in Portland, come to both if you can. But if come to either one.
Yeah,
but
do
I'm
so-
going to be reading Dead People Suck at Powell's and
Yep.
signing them, and I'll be doing stand up at the Curious at 7:30 on Saturday night.
I got to get my friend DJ to come out to Powell's because she loves Powell's. It's the main one, right?
Yeah, it's the
Okay.
biggie. Yeah.
No, you're at the airport, and the big one downtown. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Oh, that's so cool. Mm-hmm. What else? Oh, Comic of the Week.
Oh, yeah. How much time have we done?
We are at 39.
Almost 40 minutes.
I'm exhausted.
Well, you ought to be. You've been busting my chops for about 40 minutes. And Jena Friedman, you guys.
Oh, my God.
Jena Friedman. She might be my new favorite comic. And
Because she's not me.
because she's not you. Hey, she's not sitting in front of me telling me she's going to stab me. And
You sounded exactly like my
I
mother.
know, and quite honestly,
you hit
that,
some
that is
neural
on me. That is,
pathways.
and you're
Okay.
right. That is on me. That because literally, as I was saying, it, I was like, she knows this shit. What are you doing? It's not like she doesn't know.
Okay, but Jena.
Jena Friedman at Jena Friedman, I believe, right, Keith? Kyle?
Yes.
Yeah.
I wonder what I was. Kelly? What was I thinking about calling you?
I'll take any of
I'm
them.
going to go Kyle. Kyle Clark, you guys.
You've been writing a lot of K names down lately.
I have. I got
blurred your head.
Kelly Carlin. I wrote her name down. It
Not today. Not today.
It was in Boast Rattle. I was talking about how great she is. Anyway, let's talk about how
awesome.
great Jena Friedman is, though.
So Jena did a killer set on Conan where it was pretty much all about Nazis.
About Nazis, and it might have been the bravest thing I've ever seen in my life.
And
Because she can just sit in the silence.
She kept going.
And she kept going.
And the audience, the audience was like, is this going to be all? Oh my God, it is.
It is. And they
And
were on board. They were
There were
psyched.
great jokes. And
They were psyched. They were
the
confused. They were
comments-
psyched.
if you love comments, the comments on her.
If you aren't her
Oh my
or
God,
related to her, the comments are amazing.
Well, she triggered a whole lot of people.
right.
Who couldn't handle.
Righty Magoos could not handle how true all of it was.
And so
She's got a David
she's
Duke
really
joke
funny.
that blew my mind.
Yeah, she's great, and she has a show on Adult Swim.
Oh, does she?
Yeah, she does. I don't know. I forgot what the name.
This is
off
a
the top of my
classic
head.
situation where I don't know that people have bigger careers than they do. Like,
And yeah, it's weird. I did a David Feldman podcast with her like a month ago, maybe. And so she was talking about it there, and then she just was saying it was a very long development process. I mean, it's weird for someone to get a show on the air; they have to do so much fucking work.
Yeah.
You present the show, maybe it gets bought, but then they start giving you notes, and then you start having to rewrite it and change it, and it's so much fucking work from when you have the idea to when it actually gets on the air, and then you have to promote it and hope people still watch it and like it and stuff.
you're essentially explaining to me the last 2 years of your book. Because how much work you put into that.
Yeah.
And then somebody made some comment on your Facebook thing.
Yeah.
And you're like, I don't have an answer for that, but why is there a typo in this clip that I've pulled?
Oh yeah.
I was like, it was so funny and so to the point.
No, I took a picture of I'm just doing that every morning as I just flip through it and find a joke, take a picture or something, right, to promote it. And so Dan Rosen, who's a comic and a director, said, why don't you have a book trailer? Because he does book trailers.
Oh, okay.
And then I realized when I was looking at that quote that the word terrific was missing one of the I's. So then I said, why doesn't this word have the I?
Why doesn't this word have another I in it?
Why wasn't that caught? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, that was entirely what you wanted to know. You completely weeded off from the trailer question entirely. Have you ever thought about doing a trailer?
Oh, now, yeah. But
You
I
could.
mean,
You can still upload them.
oh, sure. Yeah.
You know what? I uploaded a thing on my Pandora station,
Yeah.
telling people to come out to Glen because it'll be a gig that's over, but I'm at Stir Crazy.
I got to figure out how to do that.
Oh, if you download the Pandora app,
Yeah.
it'll just be under your. I think it'll be under your account.
Okay.
Like go to my account and then go to your profile.
Yeah.
And it says, "Want to leave a message for your fans?"
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Do they assume everyone who downloads the app is a
Is a
musician
performer?
or a performer and has
I don't know if I
fans?
did anything more than that. Maybe I did.
Or
but if there's
does-
trouble, we can talk.
does every
when you
person-
have your phone.
who has Pandora have fans.
Every person who has
We're all
Pandora.
stars now.
It's funny because Maria was like, "Oh, I want to learn how to do that," and I was like, "Do you have the Pandora app?" She's like, "Nope." And then we never talked about it again.
It's a lot of work. You do a lot of work just doing all that kind of stuff.
I know
you know?
it's, and I'm doing a live Dork Forest in Vermont. I'm doing a live Dork Forest at JFL 42 in Toronto. And I'm doing. We're doing
about
one at Moon Tower.
Yes.
I'm doing a live Dork Forest, and I'm doing a live Jena,
Yes.
Jackie and Laurie.
Yeah, that'll be exciting as well.
And tonight, when this goes up, you come to Flappers.
oh yeah,
at
we'll
8
be
o'clock.
doing a live one of Flappers.
Are we going to get to do sets? I saw you gave away a set.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So this is what happened.
Yeah.
So Sunday night.
Jenna Friedman, by the way. It's at Jenna
Oh
Friedman,
yeah,
right?
she's great. Jenna Friedman. Yeah.
Definitely.
And
find
her special on CISO was called American Cunt, which that makes it hard to sell. Let me tell you. She had
But
some
makes
trouble
me
getting
wanna
that
see
thing
it
on
more.
iTunes.
Oh, good. Anyway, go.
So Sunday night at Flappers, and I didn't. It was a late show. It was rainy. There was hardly any audience there. I was second to last, and then this girl Laura was last.
Okay.
So the comic in front of us, and I tweeted about this, and I thought I took away any identifying characteristics, so it
Right.
would just sound like me venting. But
Yeah.
but the comic said,
But you recognize when you've been a maroon, essentially. You recognize your own weird behavior.
No, I don't know. But in my opinion, the comic was perhaps making fun of the two audience members or putting them in the spotlight too much. There were hardly any people there, so
Okay.
so they left after his set, and so
Okay.
the show was done. And
Oh,
so
God.
myself and then this other
Comic did not get to go up?
Right. And I was frustrated because then I could be wrong, and maybe they were going to leave anyway. But what I heard, it felt like it was a little too
response.
much commentary on two people that were in the audience. And when it's a tiny crowd, that's a very fragile egg. And
Yeah.
if you make fun of them too much, or you put this attention on them too much, they're like, why are we here? I mean, we're
Yeah.
here. We want to see the show.
Yeah.
So in my opinion, I might have gone a little bit over.
He got sad, is what you're saying.
I don't know. I don't
Okay.
even want to say who
No.
is it, a she or a he? It doesn't matter. Because
It's a them.
we've all been on shows like that where
Yeah.
you see the
I've done
audience
that.
leave right in front of you. Yes,
Yeah.
yes, and you've done that too. So
There's 30 years of stand-up comedy. I've seen everything, and I've
right.
sadly done everything.
Yes.
I've made every error or non-error and second-guessed
and
myself.
it's very tempting to go in on that,
Yeah.
But on the other hand, when there are other comics after you, I always feel like part of the job is making sure the audience stays if you can.
huge part of I mean,
Yes.
I have genuinely you remember when I used to do the road in the 90s, where I do a lot of driving.
Yeah.
And quite honestly, into the 2000s. But
Yeah.
you drive around, you do these one-nighters.
Yeah.
And I knew guys, and I still do, and when I say guys, I mean all different
Yeah.
everybody, who want to blow away, and quote, blow away the headliner.
Yeah.
And you're like, no. What you want to do is you want to set up the headliner, and you want to do so well that yes, you want to be moved up to headliner, but
Yeah.
you don't want to break the show
Yeah.
so that the person who follows you can't do their job. And then, because for me, the audience is the reason. It's all very awkward if there's no fucking audience.
Right.
So
It's
you have
impossible.
to take care of the audience.
Yes, although that's a totally different problem. I do think like sometimes when it's
But
when
the
there's
fragile egg.
when it's a bringer show, right? In a sense, it's like we have tricked these people into coming to a comedy club,
Right. But right, I'm not talking about a
but I'm
bringer
saying,
show.
like-
Was yours a bringer?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And so it's rainy, and there's no reason for them to be there at 9:30 at night on a
Right.
Sunday, right? It's rainy in Los Angeles.
Right.
Everyone should be home in their comforters,
Right, they're there just
drinking
supporting
hot
their
chocolate.
friend
Yes,
Sean.
right.
Or whatever.
Yeah. So it's like, let's be really careful of these people and see if we can keep them the whole show.
Yeah.
And maybe I was overreacting.
But that's a learned skill too.
Right. So anyway, I thought I did enough of a blind tweet where I could just vent because I didn't say the club or I just said whatever. I took out any sort of identifying characteristics besides the word comic. But then that comic contacted me and said that was me, and I don't think that's how it went down. And then
So that didn't work. Taking out
Right.
the identifiers didn't.
Right.
It back.
So,
it didn't.
and I'm not, maybe he's right. Maybe I'm wrong. So I didn't want to keep, battering that
I
one
got your
around. Like,
back.
who cares?
I believe in you
But
and your kind. Yes.
the girl, Laura, and her last name begins with a B. we'll know it. We'll know it next Monday.
Guess what? She's doing a set tonight,
Yeah,
you guys.
She's
at
going to do a
Flappers.
set.
That's how
We're
that's
gonna
where
have
the story was going.
Yes, we're going to have her do like 7
'cause she-
minutes,
oh, 'cause
and
she
you and
didn't
I
get
will
to-
each do a few minutes. Yes,
'Cause she didn't
gets
get to
her
do a
spot.
set.
She
She
didn't get
gets
to
her
her spot.
spot.
Right. That's
yeah.
the.
I showed up
Very
tonight at Flappers,
painful.
and they had canceled the Yoo-Hoo show that I was on.
Yeah.
And so I'm sure I've taken up some light whimpering, you guys.
But here's the thing: it's raining in Los Angeles,
and the world has gone
People
mad.
do not leave the house when it rains. They
Right. So the main room was half full,
Right.
and they just gave me a set.
Yeah.
Because I guess Whitney Cummings had to cancel.
Yeah.
And they said, you could play the role of Whitney Cummings. And I said, please allow me to play the role of Whitney Cummings. And then I got to work on my new bits. And
That's
and guess who wins? Me. Because I needed a set, and I got one.
good.
And
Well, aren't you fancy?
I am fancy, and I'm working on this new, in the middle of this new bit. And it's so, you know how, you are very aware of how my bits work and the fact that they're long. And the punchlines come after a lot of work. And so this new joke about flirting is long. There are 3 or 4 punchlines in it, but it's probably 2 minutes long. Or a minute and a half. It's just too long. And it will be less long, and there will be more punchlines, and we can all live our lives. But in the midst of it, there is me defining flirting, which I did not have a definition previous to hearing. It was Kate Willett, who defined flirting for me and blew my goddamn mind. I have tried that joke now for 3 weeks. Maria shows, non-Maria shows, Maria audiences,
Yeah.
regular normal audiences. Hit and miss. It's coming together. Tonight, more than once, people have come up to me afterwards and said, that definition of flirting is hilarious. I've never heard it defined. That's not what I thought it was. So I defined it tonight. I could hear Helen Hong laughing. What? She literally, I heard this, what? The Helen Hong. And I get off stage. She was next. And she goes, did you guys know that was the definition? And so she talked about it for like 10 or 15
Oh my
seconds.
God, that's hilarious.
She gets off stage. She comes up to me. She's like, that is not what I thought it was. And I was like, me neither. And so we had this very in-depth, and then she tagged my joke. She gave me a sort of an angle to go on it.
Nice.
It was super cool. Helen Hong, you guys, helping me out. She was hilarious. She had some great new stuff about her parents that made me laugh.
How much time?
We're at 51.
51, just 9 minutes. 9 minutes left. What else do I have to say? Anything?
I'm starting to fade. I sweated out all my
All your energies?
angst and my energy.
What's it called? Lenny's cookies? Leanie's?
Eleni.
How do you
Eleni. If you want to send cookies to someone in New York, that's a good place because they're based in New York.
Okay, I like it.
I did Uncab.
Oh,
And of course, I don't have a story because I'm not a storyteller. So what I did was take this chunk I'm working on and just sort of stretch it out a little bit.
yes.
And I think I found one new joke in it. And yeah, that might be it. But
yeah, that's not
I
bad
just
at all.
I just
Do you want to tell more stories?
no,
Or do you just want the stage time?
no. I just want these fucking things to be tight and done.
Right.
And they still feel loose. And I have some road work coming up. Like I'm going to be at the Punchline in San Francisco at the end of March, and then I'm going to be at Harvey's, and I'm going to be at
you doing Harvey's? You doing the new Harvey's?
in Lake Tahoe.
Oh, the Lake Tahoe.
Yeah,
Harvey's.
and then I'm going to be.
I heard
at
I was wrong
Bloomington.
about who's booking Harvey's. By the way,
Okay.
last show I talked
Oh,
about.
one of the berries.
Yeah, I thought it was Pat
Yeah.
Wilson.
Oh, it's not?
and it's not.
Who is it?
No, I don't know. But it's not Pat, and I'm working on it.
Oh, that's cool.
When I find out, I'll let you know. No,
right.
yeah. So no, Rich is not booking. I think he's still booking Cap City, but I haven't worked. I've only worked, and I only worked the Heliums when Rich booked it, and he hasn't booked me at the Heliums in a couple of years.
Yeah.
So I think that guy. I'm not going to say that guy doesn't like me, but I don't think that guy likes me. But he would probably say I don't fill the room.
You know, sometimes they change their minds.
They always
do. They do
Yeah.
change your minds.
because there's a
How many
thousand.
clubs have you been out, and then all of a sudden they love you?
And how many comics are there?
Yeah.
There's 1 jillion comics,
Here's
so
my
I'm not
point.
gonna sweat it.
I always think I'm never going back to the Punchline. You know, I'm like, oh, this might be my last, and it might be because I haven't been there in a couple of years.
Yeah.
So I have a lot of friends in the Bay Area that are like, "Oh, I'm going to see you next time," and they never come. They always postpone it. I mean, like 20 years now.
Oh
Like,
my God.
It's like, you know what? I could die. My son's about to turn 12. You know that
It's a very important
God
year,
is
you
gunning
guys.
for me right now to create a
You haven't been to
traumatized
church
poet.
in 27 years, and yet you're going to pull out the Catholic guilt.
So, but yeah, hopefully I just want to work things out in front of a real crowd.
Yeah, it's going to be a big. It's Cobb's or Punch.
I also feel
You're
like
doing Punch. Punchline,
the
right?
punchline,
Good.
yeah. I also feel like when I'm, if I'm doing a lot of sets in LA, it's I'm a lot of the same audience members are there, or
it
it's the
feels
same comics.
like
It
it.
feels
Yeah.
like it, and I should be doing other material that's just to entertain, but I'm like, I just want to figure this fucking joke out, and I'm gonna keep doing it,
And that's
until,
what
like,
those showcase rooms are for.
I know,
So
but
I mean,
I guess
you feel obligated
get tired
to
of
entertain.
feeling like I'm boring people.
You're not boring anyone because they aren't actually the same audiences. There might be the same comics, but they're not the same
It's
audience.
the same haircuts for sure.
I had my Lyft driver from the airport drove me up a banana tree. It affected his tip. He
He drove
literally-
you up
He just drove me
Please.
nuts
Okay.
because he, for some reason, wanted to vehemently tell me he doesn't like the new Star Wars movies, and then he said he doesn't like the storylines of. I was like, you and I have different opinion. I mean, I'm in your back seat. You don't want to. I mean, you might as well talk about politics, man. It's you can't. It just. And he was such a haircut. That's what made me think of it. It was like he was like, I'm an actor, and he was super shiny. Like he was like, he was a tiny buff dude with a poofy haircut, and his shirt was a little too tight, and he was super defined shoulders and muscles, and probably 23, 24 years old. And I was like, I don't like anything about you. And
You know how hard that is right now.
it's hard for him.
Guys, he's fucking driving Lyft. He's trying to get auditions.
I did not tip him. I tipped him, but I didn't.
That's brutal.
It is brutal, and I felt I couldn't not tip him,
Right.
but I was like, you gotta not. At one point, he actually said, "I know that they're going to be more diverse."
Oh no! Please don't go there.
And I was like, hey, Whitey Magoo, you cannot say, you just say you wanted Mary Jane to have red hair because you were going through puberty reading Spider-Man and she had red hair. And he was like, yeah. And I said, put it like that. Don't say it's about diversity. And he's like, but it is. And I said, stop talking. I can't. I'm done. I'm done. I'm almost done with this podcast too. I'm done listening to people.
Wait, when did you start?
Zinger, you guys. I believe I've been gotten. But actually put me in a better mood, so I appreciate that. I do need someone to bring me down a peg, and Laurie Kilmartin is there for me. And that is essentially, it's a necessary part of my life.
Kyle, are we done yet? We're tired.
57.
At 57, we did an hour 8 last week. Did
We
you notice
did.
that?
So should we cash some of that in?
Yes.
Chris was saying that, but nobody's going to be psyched about that. So you're going to
I'll be
doing
in Portland.
Powell's
I'll be
and
at Powell's
Curious.
and Curious. Yeah, and you'll be.
I'll be in Vermont,
in
the
Vermont.
Burlington, going to the coffee shop that always makes me laugh because that woman said, "We don't have Wi-Fi here. This is a community experience." And I said, "So I'm using."
Go there.
Oh, so
I
hilarious.
gotta go back.
Okay,
I gotta go back. Yeah, please buy our stuff. We don't make
yeah.
any money on this podcast. Jackie has CDs, and I have a book. Please
Yeah.
buy.
Dead people suck.
Now leaving Nerdist.com.